Universities accused of anti-Semitism and discrimination against Jewish students have been making headlines. Just last week, a report claimed Stanford University suspended a student co-op house because of alleged discrimination against Jewish students. We know Columbia University settled a $220 million lawsuit over civil rights violations during those anti-Israel demonstrations on campus as well. Joining us now to discuss is Campus Reform's editor-in-chief, Dr. Zachary Marshall. Good morning to you, Dr. Marshall. Great to see you again.
Great to be back.
Let's start with Stanford and this investigation into claims that Jewish students were targeted, called Zionists, and then asked to leave a co-op house. What happened here?
Yeah, so last year we had two student houses on Stanford University's campus tell Jewish residents they were not welcome. And this was covered in anti-Zionist language, which is just another word for being Jewish. And this is just a reminder that the left has an anti-Semitism problem. And that's what I'm trying to show through my work at Campus Reform, that we cannot ignore the left's anti-Semitism because it is clouded in the BIPOC DEI language and initiatives in higher education. This is what fuels anti-Semitism at universities like Stanford and Harvard and Columbia.
Stanford, in fact, was one of 60 colleges and universities the Trump administration said could face enforcement actions because of their records and because of the claims of anti-Semitism. Should these schools be getting taxpayer dollars?
No, absolutely not. And I think it's a good thing that we are seeing the Department of Education being so thorough and forceful with defunding universities that violate Title VI protections for colleges that do not protect Jewish students. So I think we need to see more of that. And it's positive news that Harvard University is now trying to settle with the federal government. I think more universities should do the right thing, and they need to own up to their failings since October 7th.
Let's talk about the other big headline, and that's Columbia University paying big, settling that $220 million lawsuit there. But what I thought kind of also got lost a little bit in that story was these maintenance workers who were held hostage during anti-Israel riots and then required to scrub swastikas off of school property. They too reached a settlement with the school, but their civil lawsuit against those demonstrators continues. I mean, these guys, they were assaulted, they were battered, held against their will, they were terrorized. These poor guys went through so much during this, and not a lot of attention has been brought to it. Have these attackers even been brought to justice?
No, they haven't. This is a very slow process because Columbia University was resistant to acting against the protesters who are causing property damage and attacking people on campus. And we have seen across the country that local prosecutors are being even slower with actually prosecuting charges against people who violate our laws. The one thing I will say is that the janitors at Columbia University had to scrub swastikas off the walls that the university chose to ignore. The janitors were also attacked and called Jew lovers during the Hamilton Hall occupation.
Yeah.
Those experiences are the same experiences that Jews had to go through in Austria and Germany in the 1930s. This is toleration of Nazi tactics at Columbia University because so many people in power there just don't want to admit the truth about their school.
And in what place in the United States can you hold someone hostage, assault them, terrorize them, and you're not in jail or charged with a crime? I don't recall hearing too many of these protesters being charged with assault.
No, and the answer to your question is Columbia University, Cooper Union, UC Berkeley, Harvard University. One of the ongoing reports that we are covering is the number of charges that are being dropped by local prosecutors across the country, and also the threats of suspension and expulsion that don't really go anywhere. If you look at the congressional testimony from Columbia University's former president, you will see a long line of warning letters being issued to people, but then not much else. They will do everything but hold people accountable for their crimes.
Well, I'm glad you guys are putting a spotlight on it, and that we are starting to see some more of these reports, come to light, because these are the kind of stories that we're not seeing as much, but now because of these civil lawsuits going through, and of course these maintenance workers, these janitors now continuing with their civil lawsuits against these protesters, we're starting to see some more of the details of what really happened then. Campus Reform's editor-in-chief, Dr. Zachary Marshall, we appreciate you joining us this morning here on the National News Desk.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Harvard is now open to settling with the Trump administration. That's according to the New York Times, who reports the Ivy League university is considering a $500 million deal as a way to end its months-long battle with the administration. The National News Desk, Jeff Harris joining us, and we've obviously been talking about this for months, Jeff. So news of this possible deal comes on the heels of Columbia's settlement with the administration. What do we know so far?
So the potential deal is based on interviews with 4 unnamed sources who are familiar with these negotiations. The New York Times reporting Trump is pushing for Harvard to pay more than Columbia, but officials involved are a little bit hesitant. Last week, Columbia announcing it reached a deal with the Trump administration, agreeing to pay over $200 million to settle its anti-Semitism violation in order to reinstate its federal grants.
It doesn't cross the red lines that we laid out. It protects our academic integrity. That was, of course, essential to us.
The New York Times reporting Harvard could be next. According to 4 unnamed sources, the Ivy League university is open to a potential $500 million settlement to end investigations into campus anti-Semitism.
It makes sense to have a settlement. It avoids a lot of potential conflicts in the future.
The Trump administration has gone after Harvard since April, cutting billions in funding while also demanding an overhaul of its leadership structure, admissions, and hiring. The university rejecting those demands, filing 2 federal lawsuits.
We are defending what I believe is one of the most important linchpins of the American economy and way of life. Our universities.
With those talks reportedly ongoing, the administration now turning its attention to Duke, alleging the university is in violation of the Civil Rights Act.
Duke is being accused of sort of a reverse discrimination policy in selecting members for their law journal, their medical journal, and potentially in their admissions and hiring as well.
Education and HHS secretaries Linda McMahon and RFK Jr. also sending a letter to Duke outlining shared concerns about the use of race in its hiring, admissions, and scholarship decisions. Now out west, UCLA has also agreed to pay $6 million to settle discrimination complaints brought by Jewish faculty and students last year, including letting protesters build a Jew exclusion zone on campus. Reporting for the National News Desk, I'm Jeff Harris.